Both Middlesbrough and Rob Edwards had a really tough time in the Championship last season. Borough once again missed out on the playoffs, and Edwards, he was sacked by Luton Town side that ended up getting relegated. The same Luton team that many tipped for promotion. Who could be that clueless?
Win it, and Luton will finish in second.
Now though, the two are teaming up with one goal in mind: promotion. For Edwards, it's a shot at redemption, a chance to prove that he's more than just the one-season wonder after the incredible 22-23 run that got Luton promoted. For Middlesbrough, it's about finally doing what Michael Carrick couldn't, getting back into the Premier League. To be fair, Carrick's side played some decent attacking football over his time at the club, and many fans still liked him, but after 3 failed attempts and a flat 10th place finish, a change was needed. Now it's Rob Edwards' turn, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down how he's planning to fix things and why Borough believe he's the man to get him into the top flight. Let's get into it. So throughout Rob Edwards' coaching career, from Forest Green to Watford and most notably at Luton, he's consistently built his teams around a back 5. Typically he lines up with either a 5-2-1-2 or a 5-3-2. At the heart of that system is the aggressive and creative use of wing backs. These players aren't just defenders, they operate more like wingers in possession, pushing high and wide to stretch the opposition, while still forming part of a solid defensive back 5 when out of possession. It's a demanding role, but it's one that defines how Edwards' teams play, and his commitment to the system has yielded results over his career. At Forest Green, it was arguably the single biggest factor behind their promotion to League One. Wingbacks Kane Wilson and Nicky Cadden thrived with their freedom to attack, combining for a massive 33 goal contributions in that season alone. And he took the same principles to Luton Town, where the system once again proved to be effective. In the Championship promotion season and even the 23-24 Premier League season, his wingbacks played a vital role, in particular Alfie Doughty. Doughty flourished under Edwards, registering 24 goal involvements over 3 seasons. And in 23-24 Premier League campaign, he delivered a staggering 340 crosses, the most out of any player in the division. That stat alone shows how central the wingbacks are to Edwards' attacking strategy. But of course it's not without risk. Giving wingbacks so much freedom can leave a lot of space in behind, especially if possession is lost high up the pitch. Still, when it works, it creates overloads out wide, floods the box with dangerous balls, and gives Edwards' teams a dynamic edge in the final third. So Rob Edwards' style of play is all about controlled aggression. His teams look to play fast, direct, attacking football, but not in a reckless way. Rather than aimless long balls, Edwards prefers to start with short, purposeful passes to build the momentum through the middle before shifting the play out wide. And that centre of the pitch is really key in the build-up. Midfielders and strikers often act as the link between defence and attack, helping to move the ball into wide areas where the wingbacks or wingers can get 1v1 and deliver dangerous crosses into the box. And that's not just a theory, it's backed up by the numbers. In the 23-24 Premier League season, Luton Town made more crosses than any other team, 841 in total, and it's not the first time that that's happened under Edwards. Back at Forest Green in League 2, they also topped the league for the most crosses with over 1,000 that season. So yeah, getting the ball wide and into the box isn't just a part of his game, it's a core principle. In attack, Rob Edwards' teams revolve around one key principle: width and delivery. His wingbacks aren't just passengers, they're the engine room of the system, pushing high up the pitch to provide relentless width and service into the box. Crossing is key to the way Edwards builds chances, and for that to work, his wingbacks must be confident on the ball, aggressive in 1v1 situations, and importantly capable of consistent end products. But the crosses don't win the games and get the goals, someone has to be at the end of them, and that's where the target man comes in. Edwards' systems always thrive when there's a physical presence up front, a striker who can hold up the ball and build up, bring others into play, and then get into the box to attack the delivery. And at Luton we saw this blueprint perfectly executed by Elijah Adebayo and Carlton Morris. Both of these bullied the defenders and thrived off the kind of service that they were getting that Edwards' system demands. The formula is simple yet effective. Stretch the pitch with wingbacks, get the ball wide, whip it in, and let your forwards do the rest. In defence then, if there's one thing Rob Edwards demands off the ball, it's intensity. His teams don't like to sit back and absorb pressure, they go hunting for it. Edwards sets his sides up to press aggressively, often high up the pitch in a man-to-man structure that puts serious pressure on the opposition build-up. This usually sees his wingbacks push up to create a back 3, and then from there, the midfielders and forwards engage early, especially on goal kicks or when possession is slow and predictable. Here you can see from this example just how effective it can be, and when it works brilliantly. Back at Forest Green, Edwards' side had the lowest passes per defensive action in League 2, showing that they pressed more effectively than anybody else in the league, and it helped them to the title as well. But this kind of pressing, it comes with big demands. Your wing-backs need the engine to cover the entire flank for 90 minutes. Your midfielders must be intelligent, athletic and aggressive. And your centre-backs, they've got to be brave enough to push high and fast enough to recover if it goes wrong. Unfortunately for Luton last season, it often did go wrong. A brutal injury list meant Edwards was regularly forced to play wing-backs out of position, centre-backs lacking pace and midfielders who simply couldn't sustain the press. And the result was a team that still tried to press but often did so in a disjointed, chaotic way. Pressing triggers were mistimed, lines were broken, and space opened up behind the defence far too easily. For teams with quick transitions or runners in behind, it was just a gift. So while Edwards' high energy pressing can be a major strength, it's not plug and play. It needs the right personnel, and at Luton last season, the system was undermined by availability, not intention. While Rob Edwards has a clear identity, fast attacking football with wingbacks and a physical striker, what really stands out is he can adapt to a squad. At Luton, he inherited a direct long ball squad from Nathan Jones, and rather than rip things up, he decided to adjust. His team averaged just 46% of the possession in the Championship, and even less in the Premier League. But at Forest Green, with more technical players for the level, his side saw 54% of the ball, which is a big contrast. And that shows that Edwards can adapt around players, and at a club with more technical quality like Middlesbrough, he tends to shift towards a more possession-based approach. He tweaks roles, especially in midfield, pulling number 8s to open more central space and encourage shorter, more intricate passing. However, probably the biggest complaint around Rob Edwards, especially last season, is his stubbornness and lack of tactical flexibility. We saw this clearer than ever at Luton last season. Even when the alarms were sounding and it was clear to everybody that what Luton was doing just was not working, Edwards stuck firmly to his style week after week. The system that once brought success was now being questioned, and yet the tweaks were minimal, and so were the results. And so, although Edwards proven that he can come into a squad and adapt to how they're playing, it really does seem that within the season he lacks that plan B when he's stuck to a system. And interestingly, that does mirror what cost ultimately Michael Carrick his job at Borough, a lack of a clear plan B, and things get tough. So Borough fans will be hoping that there won't be a repeat of that this season. And now with Middlesbrough aiming for promotion and what looks to be one of the most competitive Championship seasons in years, that adaptability will be absolutely crucial. But what sets Rob Edwards apart isn't just his tactics, it's his ability to connect with players on a personal level, and that could be a huge reason why Middlesbrough chose Edwards over other potentially more tactically suitable coaches. He's not the type of manager who likes to treat footballers like machines, and it speaks volumes about how he leads. Edwards is big on creating a dressing room where players feel trusted, where they are encouraged to take risks and be brave and express themselves without fear of failure. He's also spoken openly about treating his squad with respect and honesty and building a relationship rather than just barking orders from the touchline. And in the Championship, that kind of leadership matters just as much as formations or tactics. This season, the Championship includes some incredible sides who will no doubt be challenging at the top. And if Borough want to be in the mix, they'll need to create a positive atmosphere around the club and create a squad that fully buys into Edwards and the goal, a group that fights for each other. And that might just be what the higher-ups at Middlesbrough were thinking when appointing him. He's shown before that he can build belief, foster unity and get the best out of his players when it counts. If Borough are going to make it back to the Premier League, they'll need more than just tactics. They'll need to create that kind of culture. So is Rob Edwards a good fit for Middlesbrough? On paper, Rob Edwards might be exactly what Middlesbrough need. Let's start with the basics. The core of the team is already tailored to a back three. Vandenberg brings the recovery pace to play the high line, while more experienced defenders around him add leadership and positional awareness, crucial when your system relies on taking risks. In midfield as well, players like Hayden Hackney and Fitness As look built for the number 8 roles in Edwards' systems. They're mobile, technically gifted, and they're comfortable in receiving in tight areas, which is ideal for progression through central zones. There are of course some question marks over some players, whether they're fit to the system or not, but Edwards has a track record of improving that side of a player's game. Just look at Ross Barkley. He went from a luxury attacking mid to a ball-winning dynamo under Edwards at Luton. If he can pull off a similar transition with some of the midfielders there, that midfield at Middlesbrough starts to look very complete for a system. One area that isn't quite ready though potentially is right back. The left side on the other hand looks solid though, Bangura and Borges, but on the right, Luke Hayden doesn't have the legs or the final ball for this system, and no one else at the club really seems to be a natural fit. And we saw at Luton when Edwards chose to swap out James Bree for Cody Drame that he much prefers more athletic, rapid wing-backs, and so Ayling likely won't be a fit, and that role is simply too important to that system to leave unresolved. Getting someone in there has to be one of the top priorities this summer. And up front, Edwards' systems also demands that proper target man, someone who can hold up play and attack crosses. Force and Bergzorg are useful, but neither is dominant in the air, and if Borough want to fully unlock Edwards' blueprint, they'll need a forward who can lead the line physically. Some good news though is that with Josh Colburn moving, there's room and therefore budget to find that striker. But the bottom line is, the foundations are there, and with a couple of smart signings, especially at wing back and up front, that squad could be the perfect match for Edwards' approach. So will Rob Edwards succeed at Middlesbrough? After everything we've broken down, the tactics, the man management, the weakness, and the squad fit, one thing is clear. Rob Edwards is a coach with serious potential at Middlesbrough. He's got that defined style of play that brings goals, width, and attacking intensity. He knows how to build team spirit. He's already proven that he can take a side all the way up to the Prem, even on limited resources. But success at Middlesbrough this season is far from a guarantee. It hinges on a few key factors. Firstly, the club has to back him properly. This means finding the right profiles, especially at right wing back and up front, to make his system tick, and without those pieces, it's hard to execute the blueprint. Secondly, Edwards needs to show he's learned from the past. At Luton, sticking too rigidly to one system in tough spells cost him not only his job, but also Luton their spot in this division. If you can adapt when needed, like the top managers do, he'll be far more dangerous in the long run. And finally, it comes down to the buy-in. From the players, the staff, and the fans, the Championship is a brutal league, and with teams like Leicester, Southampton and Ipswich in the mix this season, Borough will need to fight for every point. And that means that everybody needs to buy into his system and his approach. The good news is though, the foundation's already there. A talented core of defenders, midfielders ready to progress play, a club hungry for promotion, and now a manager who, with the right support and right tweaks, could finally be one to deliver it. So, will it work? Only time will tell, of course, but this feels like more than just a gamble. It feels like a calculated, ambitious move, and if Edward gets it right, Middlesbrough could be back where they belong. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please do like and subscribe, and comment how you think Edwards will get on. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.